30 seconds.
Welcome back to the bounce. We've got a jam-packed episode for you because there's breaking news every 10 minutes with the NBA, and that's why we love it. I am Kev, and with me is my wonderful co-host James. James, how you doing?
I am great, Kev. It's nice that the NBA cannot go more than 1 minute without being overly dramatic. It makes our life real easy. We had the script all ready to roll, and we changed it last minute, about 20
Yeah,
minutes ago, man.
drastic changes too. Yeah, a headline,
Yep.
front page story. Kyrie has been suspended. I believe it's for 5 games at this point,
It is correct. It's for 5 games for
and there
his
we.
comments and essentially not apologizing for him. It sounds like he
Yeah. Oh,
hmm, been a bad week for the Nets, Kev. Been a bad week.
very bad week for the Nets. And yeah, we won't harbor long on the suspension and what it entailed. There's a lot to dig into there. We've got a lot of
Hmm.
basketball talk to talk about today. So, yeah, as you mentioned, a tough week for the Nets. The the sick gets sicker. Is that a saying? It should be. When it rains, it
It
pours.
absolutely is
That's what
right
I'm
now.
looking for.
When it rains and pours. Yeah. What is it? Monday they fire their head coach Steve Nash. Get rid of him.
Gone. Goodbye.
Gone, man. Elite point guard didn't pan out as a coach in his first go round.
Has
Here's a fun. Go ahead.
no, go ahead. I want the fun facts. I was just gonna agree.
Fun
Yeah,
fact: fourth head coach in just a little over 6 seasons for Brooklyn. Just a little over, considering they played 7 games this year.
that isn't. It's interesting when you think about just how much turnover has been, like, and how rapidly they really
Mhm.
they tried to hot fix this thing, right? Like, okay,
Yeah.
Brooklyn pre Kyrie and KD actually was like a proper rebuild. We talked about last week, Jared
Hmm.
Allen, Karis LeVert, like they had some pieces there, Spencer Dinwiddie, like they had pieces that were ready to go, could have built into something
Hmm.
bigger. And then they kind of grabbed all these stars, tried to throw it together. Like you said, Nash, not a good coach, hard to argue against that right now. I would
Hmm.
also say he was rushed into this position. I don't think he was ready to be a head coach.
I would
I think
agree.
that showed on the court.
Hmm.
Yeah, and so hopefully, I'm hoping he gets another shot because I think he needs to go be an assistant somewhere else longer and kind of learn a little bit more.
I would agree with that. I think he deserves another chance at it. And they threw this lineup together, this team together. They tried to buy a championship, and it's just miraculously exploded. The James Harden thing, where you have to trade him away. Ben Simmons, as we talked about last week, has been awful. He's now hurt. I think he's out 2 games. They they've got 2 wins on the season. They're 2-6, and ugh, one of their wins is against your boys. They split. They play back to back against the Pacers, and
Couldn't even beat him. Couldn't even give us
yeah,
2 losses there. Come on, Brooklyn, get it
2 wins.
together.
They beat Toronto. They beat them. I don't I don't know. I don't know how this. I think we all know how this looks like it's going to end. Obviously, the big name for that job already is Ime Udoka, which is a whole nother situation entirely. Um, we won't. Don't think we need to go down that rabbit hole too far. But
Yes.
how how many times have you ever heard, Kevin, in any sport, they fire a coach this fast and have not just a interim ready, but they've got the guy coming. Like from all intents and purposes, it sounds like Ime is coming to take this team over as soon as he can.
So not only is that unprecedented, as you mentioned, but there's an added wrinkle of the fact that the guy they're bringing in technically hasn't even been fired from his current job.
Hmm.
He's just suspended. So that's tough. Now, I think part of Ime's decision would have to be they're doing pretty well without me. So
Hmm.
I'm not going to have a job to come back to. So let me just go ahead and go now. So I can kind of understand. But it's very weird that the Nets find themselves in a position where this guy's currently being investigated. I don't, and they likely know something that we don't. Let's give the Nets front office
Yeah.
some credit. But
Hmm.
this stuff isn't even finished with him yet, and they're already ready to go. And I will take this moment to say that I think that might be a mistake for the Nets because they might have something with their interim guy. I mean, Jacques Vaughn is another former point guard, but he
Hmm.
wasn't a superstar. And
Yep.
he's got that kind of MO that we have seen be successful in this league time and time again. And
Mhm.
I would maybe just let Jacques try some things. You're going to have a very unique situation now. No Kyrie, no Ben, uh, heavy dose of
Mhm.
Durant. Maybe we see some new guys step up. I wouldn't be in such a hurry to get Ime Udoka. Again, great coach. Kind of got some things going on that he
Mhm.
might be a little distracted right now. Maybe just let Jacques Vaughn, who can and will focus all of his attention on being the head coach. Maybe just let him try it.
I wouldn't disagree with you at all. They've got the Nets are a whirlwind right now. It's a mess, and you're talking about bringing another whirlwind piece into it. And he's a great coach. There's nothing there, but like you said, he might be somewhere else right now. There's some stuff going on that we don't know about, and the reality is maybe they should give Jock Vaughn a test here. They play back to back tomorrow and Saturday. Ime's not. It is worth noting as of right now he has not been hired,
Right.
but
Yes.
they got Washington, Charlotte Friday, Saturday, both winnable games. Then suddenly it's you're 4-6 going to Dallas on Monday. Just it's a whole different thing entirely. Like
And
there.
that makes that Kyrie suspension that much more painful in my
Hmm.
opinion, because that's the first thing I
Yes.
did. I looked at that schedule and I said, "Oh, Washington and Charlotte, like you needed these and they were
Yeah.
ripe for the taking." And now, uh, oof. Although I will say, and I've heard some chatter about this, and I wanted to see what your opinion might be on it. Um, I believe we will see some immediate improvement from the Nets because there was the whole issue where their best player wanted this coach to be traded.
Hmm.
That he might not have been alone, uh, might not have been alone in that sentiment, and perhaps there are other players that were wanting to see Steve Nash gone and maybe didn't put on their best effort on a nightly basis. So we may see an immediate improvement from this team.
It is very possible. Yeah, Durant this summer tried to get him and their GM Marks fired. And when you talk about effort, they've they aren't playing hard at all. Defensively, offensively, they're just awful. And Marks came out and said it. When your GM fires head coach and says that your guys aren't playing hard enough, that's a massive, massive problem. Massive. They just can't get around it.
It can't
Can't
get
win.
more. That's about as bad as one of your video guys leaking something to TMZ like that.
Hey,
That's an
yeah.
in-house. Like, do that in-house.
Yep.
And while we're on this topic, Trevor, shout out to Trevor. Thank you for the great question. If hired, Udoka would no longer be suspended, correct? And I believe that is the case.
Hmm.
James, correct me if I'm wrong. This is a Celtics imposed suspension.
Correct. The
Uh,
Celtics suspended him for the season. It's not an NBA suspension. And the Celtics are not going to try to recoup any draft capital or anything like that, which
is
is
that
another. It makes this thing entire. Like
yeah?
they are willing to just let him go to team, another team in the division. Go goodbye, see ya. Not our
For
problem anymore.
free.
For
For
free. He
free.
took them to the finals last year. The finals. They were
How
in like man.
I am in awe of this situation because I think it speaks volumes about the Celtics organization, the Nets
Hmm.
organization, and also this Udoka situation in general because, uh, to take it back to the question a little bit, that's the current situation. There's still an investigation. Who's to say that the NBA doesn't at some point have to act
Hmm.
on this, and the Nets go and then hire themselves a coach that inevitably will be suspended? And if the Celtics are willing, as you said, to let this man walk to a division rival for free when he just took them to the NBA Finals, that says to me either A, they are very confident with what they had, which could be either because
Hmm.
Ime was maybe already a figurehead and they knew they had great assistants there, or they're just very happy with what they've seen so far early on in the
Hmm.
regular season. They'd have every right to have that opinion as after what they've seen, or it's just really that bad with Ime. And they're saying, "Oh God, yeah, well, if you want to take him, get this guy out of our organization. So when this thing does implode, it's not on us. Absolutely, go ahead. We don't want anything for him because in this day and age, it's very rare to walk away from an opportunity. The only other, it's uh, parallels to the Josh Primo thing. Like
Yeah.
you don't see guys that have this level of success, or in Primo's case, this level of talent, just where people are just willing to walk away with no return. and just cut their loss. You don't
Yeah.
see that every day in this business.
Yeah, and the Primo deal, there's more come out there too. There's a lawsuit there, and he clears waivers too. He made it all the way through, so nobody wants to touch him. It's that's the kind of stuff that derails franchises. Celtics losing their head coach, the finals, like I wouldn't recommend it if I'm the Nets, but me and you are doing this right now, and we're not making that decision. So
Well, hey, if they keep it up, some of those guys might be doing this too.
maybe we'll get some guests
But
on here.
yeah, we'll get some guests, and it should be noted. Wow, props to Boston and San Antonio because they're both thriving despite
Hmm.
all of this, and even though San Antonio is not supposed to be. So I don't know what they are doing over there, but they just
Not
keep on winning.
how many games is too many games to win right now, Kev? I saw an article about this the other day. How many games can you win right now and push yourself out of the lottery because you got hot at the start of the season before everybody realizes you're no good? Before you
I'm
realize you're no good.
I'm thinking it's anywhere close to 20. Like there are some teams this year that I think will flirt with only 20, 25 wins. So if you rattle off if you're a team like the Spurs that gets 10 or 11 wins before the new
They've
year,
got
like
five right now. They're
I
five
know
and
it's
three.
yeah, they're 5-3 right now. They're if I'm the Spurs, I
Utah
I'm
six
thinking
and
it
three.
now. Yeah,
Like
Utah, where's the massive fire sale coming? Utah, I feel so badly for Utah, the fans of Utah, because they are living the Indiana Pacers nightmare right now. Like
those are boys.
this is fool's gold if I've ever seen it. I maybe not in the sense that this team wouldn't be able to win some games, but that's not a championship team in Utah.
No.
So this I don't know. Maybe if I'm them, try to sell my assets earlier than the trade deadline. Maybe
Do you think
uh,
you'll
while it's
create a
hot.
podcast like it's going to be like what do I want to call it? It's like a Pacers podcast, but it'll be just bringing all fans in and being like, "Hey, come on, just come in, talk it out." Sport group. That's the word I'm looking for. I'm looking
There we
for
go.
support group,
Therapy
folks. That is
session.
that's the
Yes.
Jeopardy word of the day. Like a
Yes.
therapy session for him, led by Kev.
Yes. Yeah, it's gonna be for all, fans of mid-market NBA teams just,
Right.
struggling. It'll be, lots of Jazz, Pacers, and Timberwolves fans just hanging out together, and just, wallowing in our shared sorrow.
That's great, dude. That is great.
And since we're talking about sorrow and big named Eastern Conference teams that are struggling and dealing with some issues,
Mm.
James Harden in the news. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
It
Poor
was everywhere.
James.
It
Yeah,
was the news today before the news. So good. It was a good November 3rd, 2022. Great day for news. James Harden is out for the next month, Kev. Right
Ay,
foot tendon strain. I've never heard of this before. I don't know what it is. Your feet are important in basketball, though. So
yes.
let's talk here. The 76ers are currently 4-5. What's your outlook now? He is now going to miss the next month. There's a ton of games in there. They've been struggling as it is. What are your thoughts here for them now?
My thoughts here, I mean, they don't really change for me personally
Hmm.
because I wasn't sold on this team to start the season. I think that this team is a middling force, like at best, like they'll be in the fight maybe for the 4 seed at some point if
Hmm.
they're lucky. That was kind of preseason where I had them like maybe they'll be a 4 seed, but I'm not really feeling it.
Hmm.
So I think they're going to struggle a little bit. I would need to take a look at their actual schedule for the upcoming month to see what those matchups are. I'm sure there are some winnable games. I believe in Tyrese Maxey. I'm a big fan of
I
Tyrese
agree. Yeah, I do
Maxey.
too.
So I won't be surprised to have maybe we have a little Max Sanity, a little Insanity month where it's the Tyrese Maxey show and people are thinking, "Oh wow, here's the future," with Embiid and Maxey doing some things. Um, th I think they're gonna tread water, but at best. I don't think they're gonna thrive by any means, but,
Here is you
um
talk about not knowing their schedule. I just pulled it. Here it is. Here's your next 8 games, Kev. Versus New York, versus Phoenix, back to back against Atlanta, versus the Jazz, versus the Bucks, versus Minnesota, versus Brooklyn.
oof,
That
where's
is
the
from now until November 22nd. That is 19 days. That's 18 days. That's 8 games in 18 days.
where's
Woo!
the easy one in there? I
Oh
almost
man, it's the Jazz, isn't it's the
is
Jazz
it
or
is the Jazz the
Minnesota?
most yeah, I mean, right now, record-wise, Minnesota, I
Yeah, but
think
it's the Jazz.
yeah, it's and then your Atlanta's a back-to-back? Is that did I hear that right?
Yep, at
Yeah.
Atlanta, then home versus Atlanta. 2 games in 3 days. It eases up a little bit after they get 3 games right after Charlotte, Orlando, Orlando. Ooh, that is odd. They play Orlando back to back, 25th, 27th, both in Orlando. The NBA does some weird scheduling
Yeah, get
stuff.
those out of the way. No
But
one
then
wants to be
then they're
down
right
there.
back into the heat of the. And then it's Hawks, Cleveland, Memphis. So
Right back. Yeah,
whoa,
a quick little
whoa,
vacation in Disney World and
whoa.
then right back
Yeah,
to
right.
despair.
November 26th, go to Disney World and pray. Uh
Ah, I kind of can I
I
rescind
like
my previous statement?
I man, I didn't. That's
That's brutal.
brutal.
That's rough.
You're
They're gonna
talking.
win 3 of those games,
I think
and
so
that's what I
too.
mean by treading water. Like, they won't lose them
Yeah,
all. They'll keep themselves only a couple of games below 500 is my best guess there.
I
That's
like you. I
rough.
like Embiid. I like Maxi. They're having good season. I think the guy that's got to step up is Tobias Howard. He's averaging 13.4 a game. That's his lowest since 2013 and 14. Almost, I mean, it's 8, 9 years ago. He's
Yeah.
not having a great season. So there's somebody's got to pick up. Harden's averaging 22 a game, 2022 a game.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
Harris definitely will have to step up, like you said. I mean, I think this narrative has been going on for a while. He was
yeah.
not the guy that they paid for. Not really the guy that I think
Mm-hmm.
they were expecting to get. Has a silky smooth stroke and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully will get more I mean, there's not hopefully, he's going to get more
Has to. Yep.
opportunities.
Yeah.
And then a name that I've heard lamented from some Sixers fans was Matisse Thybulle, so maybe we'll see a little
Mm-hmm.
more from him out on the wing. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
gonna be a struggle. I think Maxi's gonna have to put his cape on here because
Have to.
the
Yeah.
guys that they added weren't really there to add scoring in the
PJ
offseason.
Tucker brought in to play defense. He's not going to score. That's not what he's there for.
D'Anthony Melton will get you a little bit. I think
Yep.
they'll be okay there. Like, they are okay to run. Like, I I would feel confident running the offense with the ball handlers and stuff that they have. I wouldn't be stressed in that sense at all. But they're certainly going to miss James Harden for a month with that schedule. That it's all
Uh-huh.
about timing. And you couldn't be just like the Spurs couldn't be winning at a bad time. This injury couldn't have come at
Yeah.
a worse time.
I always forget the 76ers have Montrezl Harrell. I'm looking through their team right now. I completely forgot he was on that team.
Another addition not
We
brought in for his scoring though, right? That's a
correct. Now
defender and a
he
rebounder.
not even, yeah, he's averaging 2.9 a game, and that's not the spot. He ain't replacing Harden.
That'll go up to 4. I'm confident. Don't put that on your daily. I wouldn't.
No, no, sir. Don't do that.
You won't see me
Here's
do
a question for you. If we put you in the Sixers lineup right now and they put you in the corner spot threes, how many you make in a game?
spot threes. Am I
Yep.
as open as Lonnie Walker was last night? Because I'm hitting at least 2 of those.
I'm giving you wide open, nobody around.
From 3 right now. Oh, not many. It, not from NBA 3. Now I've still got that mid range though. Now you put me on the
Oh,
free throw
90,
line. I'm
yeah,
very
90,
confident.
90, 90s game. 90s game.
Yeah.
You and Michael back there.
Yes, exactly. Just love running off those screens. That high, that extended elbow,
Oh yeah.
foul line extended. Oh my god, that was
Don't
my.
mess with you there.
Remember that warm up game? Beat the pro. I score. I make 1. I miss. The pro gets 2. Yeah,
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Yep. Used to be part of the sport back in my day. Now it's
Uh,
the analytics say
back in our
no.
day. No, analytics no. Get it out.
Oh, coaches would hate Tracy McGrady today. They'd be like, "Dude, take 1 step back, dude. You're at the 3-point line. Just take a
Yep.
step back."
Either take a step back or dunk it, sir.
And speaking of step backs, and one of the most beautiful step backs in the NBA, might I add, NBA 2K was right about Luka Doncic, huh?
Man,
He is that dude, I would
he
say.
is unbelievable, man.
Is it 7
He
now? Is it
It is
clackety clack 7?
7. He has scored over 30 in the Mavs' first 7 games this year. He is leading the league, Kev, 36 points per game. 36. It's wild. So
That's good.
this is the
I hear that's
longest
good.
30-point streak since Wilt Chamberlain in 1992, 90 or 19, geez, not 92, he didn't play then. 62, 63 to start the season. It's only happened 3 times before.
And it was a 7-footer, at playing against plumbers, as JJ Redick would say.
Yeah, correct. Yes, yeah.
Not as I would say, mind you, but, as some would say. So Luke is doing, and as a primary, I think it's fair to call Luka a primary ball handler. I know that
Absolutely. Yeah, he's
you
the
would
point
wanna,
guard.
yeah, he's maybe listed as a small forward, but I think he's their point guard. Maybe you could make the argument last year with Brunson around you could probably pull up some stats and call me an idiot, but he's doing it as the facilitator.
Mhm.
He's doing it with the ball in his hands, and also not being like, this isn't LeBron we're talking about where he's 6'9" and incredibly fast and can get
Mhm.
by folk. Like, this
No.
is like Luca. It's with these crafty, like, drop steps. He's not a I don't want to call him slow because he's not slow. We're not talking about like Larry Bird or Kevin McHale
Mhm.
here, but it's incredibly impressive what he's been able to
Yep.
do while he's not catching anyone by surprise. Everyone knows what the
Mhm.
Dallas Mavericks are planning
Yep.
on doing. Yeah. What else? What are your thoughts on this?
It
On this?
it's an insane usage. His stats are outrageous. He leads the team in points, rebounds, assists, and steals. And it's not like
Wow.
2 and 2. It's 36 a game from point, or 36 points a game, 8.9 rebounds per game, 9 assists per game, and 1.7 steals per game. Those are insane. Like he's scoring 36 points a game. He's at least assisting on 18 points a game, if not more, if they're threes or fouls that are not counted. It is impressive. It's just he's an impressive specimen. Like there's no other way to put it, is there?
No, no. He's a one man wrecking crew right now. My next question will be: do you think this is a pace that he can continue? And I'll have another one for you after this. But
I
how,
don't know
like,
if he can continue it, but he has to. Like he's there. He has to. Like he has to be a 30 a night guy, right? He has to be.
yeah, unless there are some moves made, which I do anticipate, honestly, with a team like Dallas, with an owner like Mark Cuban. I expect that if they find that they're missing something near the trade deadline, that
Hmm.
they may try to bring someone in. I think there's going to be plenty of opportunities to go and get some guys that some of whom I think we've expected to be moved. Just look at
Yeah, we
Utah
talked about some
alone.
guys last
Yeah,
year. Yeah,
yeah.
that's
So
exactly the team I was thinking. They
yeah,
were they were
and
notorious. They didn't want Jalen to get out this summer, and he did.
yeah,
Yeah, I would assume so too. They're just 4-3 right now. Won against Utah last night.
because that's the
I,
big point. To your point, he has to do it, and that's not sustainable. If you're only 4-3, uh, and you're getting MVP quality play, and you're barely above water.
that's
Yeah,
that's not it. It's
not
just
going to
not it.
work.
Nope.
And since I brought up the MVP thing, I wanted to ask you because we've got some several worthy candidates at the moment, but we've got Luca, we've got Giannis, who we're certainly going to talk about at some point because the Bucks are
Wild,
undefeated.
wild man.
But where would you did I is there a name I haven't mentioned, or where would you have Luca? Do you think is this his MVP season?
He's got a shot at it. Absolutely. He's definitely off the top of my head. He's easily in the top five. I think the name you just said it though is Giannis. Like he's their team's 7-0. They haven't lost yet, and
Yeah.
he's averaging 33 a game. 33, 12, and 5. Like Luca's probably gonna be one of those guys in the conversation for the next 5 to 10 years. However, the Dallas's team around him is no. It's just Christian Wood's averaging 17 a game, but it's not built to win. It's not a championship caliber roster right now.
No, no, it's not. It's missing something, and I think a bit of it will be, not to say that they don't have a veteran presence, but I think they need a more successful veteran presence in play as well. Like, they don't, trying to just roll through their roster off the top of my head right now. I'm not thinking of guys that just scream playoff success other than Luca. And again, like, we've seen how far this team can go when he has to put everyone on his back, and it's impressive how far they can go when he
Very
does that.
impressive. Very
Uh,
impressive.
but it ain't enough. as the saying goes.
You're just looking at second leading scorers: Christian Wood, Spencer Dinwiddie's on that team, Tim Hardaway Jr. After that, I just not. They don't have
And
that
again,
guy.
no,
It's
yeah,
they
yep,
had Porzingis. He was supposed to be the guy. He didn't work out. Jalen Brunson was the guy. Like, he was a big part of that playoff run too last year. He doesn't probably get enough credit. Luka was the man, but he was the Robin to Batman in that playoff run, and he's gone now. So
exactly.
who's going to be that guy now?
And they need that, and if they're not gonna get a Robin, then they need to, for me to be a nerd, then they need to go grab Nightwing in the Red Hood or something, if you
Something,
can't
yeah,
get
right.
Robin, you gotta go get a couple of guys that might be able to get you 17 extra points a game. You need something.
Absolutely. Hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's impressive to watch, what he's doing and the run that they've been on, and it's been equally impressive, at least over the last couple of games, and we've pulled a full 180 here from last week, to watch what, Russell Westbrook and the
Your
Lakers
boy.
have done with their new strategizing. I wanted to call him West Bench because I thought it would be clever, like he's the super bench player, but all the Westbrook stuff has gotten really out of hand, and so we're gonna just shelve
Well,
West Bench for now until we
just
come
give
up with
him
something
and
better.
just give him his actual. Just give him his name. Yeah,
Just
man.
give him his given
Lakers
name.
two-game winning streak. How about that, huh? Two
Woo!
game winning streak. And those
And
two games, go ahead.
oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. Tell me.
They
Yeah.
in those games they've shot 35% from three. They shot 43% against the Nuggets. That's for them is outrageous. Westbrook 31 points on 12 of 22 shooting. He's over 50% from the field. 3 for 8 from three, just under 50%. Kev, have they found something here, or is this just a little speed bump in the road, and they're going to go back to what we were talking about last week?
Is this the last fight of a cornered animal? Is
Yeah,
that what
is
we're
that
looking
yeah,
at
yeah.
here?
Are they backed into the corner and they're going to find their way? Like, what are your thoughts on this? Is this sustainable for them?
I think they have found something here. We were talking about it throughout the week. I tried to pull a couple of examples from memory of former go-to guys
Hmm.
offensively that got put into a six-man role and the ones that they've worked. Now, the sixth man that everyone thinks of first would be what Lou Williams, right? When everyone
Yep.
thinks sixth man, they think
Hmm.
sweet Lou. He's going to come in and probably get you 20 a night. The one that I draw to though, uh, biggest that's most comparable to this is Manu Ginobili,
Hmm.
because there
Yeah.
was a Hall of Famer who at one point for the better of the team had to come off the bench and was also like he was the offense for that second unit back when he was there. Now, gradually as age caught up with him, Manu's role would continue to
Hmm.
lessen there. But I think there's something to be had here because they don't have a lot of offensive depth. We talked about that last week with their shooting, their inability to do so. So they do need someone to score coming off the bench. And what Russ has been doing, which I've liked seeing from the tape, is he's actually attacking the rim coming off the second unit. I've
Hmm.
seen a lot of pick and rolls. I've seen good passes in the pick and roll to Anthony Davis. And I've seen open shots from one Lonnie Walker. He had a big one late in the fourth, and so I do think that they have something that is currently working now. I expect the NBA to adjust as it does, and they are going to have to once again pivot. But I think if Russ commits to this, he could have second life. A couple of weeks ago, I was thinking this might be the last year of Russell Westbrook's career, and now I'm thinking this guy could have another 5 or 6 quality years if he's willing to embrace this and say, "I am
Hmm.
this guy," because then he can still be Russ, full blown, go as hard as he can, Russ for 17, 22 minutes a game and just still outrun people.
I
Those are
think
my
that's
thoughts.
it. I think that's where you hit it on the head. If he's willing to embrace that role, he can go back and be that guy. It's just on the second unit where they need some firepower, some scoring punch. And instead of doing it for 35 minutes a game, it's 20 minutes a game, and he's fresher because he's not young, he's older, but he can start using that athleticism again, getting to the rim, getting wide open shots for other guys, getting Anthony Davis involved. And I think it'll be seen if he'll accept it. I mean, a week ago we were talking about the fact that he wouldn't do it, so it's already taken a 180 in a week. But if he's willing to accept that role, I think you're right. I think it adds years to his career. if he can be a quality guy, averaging, those guys you talked about averaged 17 plus a game, some over 20, coming off the bench.
Yeah.
That's
It
okay.
and he starts to do this, if he continues to do this, he'll become, attractive, not this year, mind you, not until that contract goes away, but as we said, to speak towards extending that career, he could end up just playing for only playoff teams going forward.
Hmm.
He could pull a Rajon Rondo and just
Yep.
kinda pick where he wants to go, on reasonably good deals for the next couple of years if he continues this pace. And I wonder again what it's going to mean for his trade value, because I don't know that him playing better does anything for the Lakers in that sense, because again, I don't think anyone who trades for Russ wants to play him. I think they want to buy him out and they want to keep losing. Russ is gonna, because if Russ keeps doing this, if he goes back to old school Russ for 20 minutes a game, he's gonna win you a few extra games,
Hmm.
and that's not what any team that's willing to take on that contract and for draft picks, they don't want to win those games.
That
Uh,
contract is such a monster too. That's the elephant in the room. Like, and this is the last year on it, correct? I think this is it, and
yep.
it's like 36 million. It's amazing, is what it is.
It's yeah, an albatross, absolutely, and so this is gonna have to work for them if they're gonna make it work. And we mentioned their lack of bench firepower, but they do have
Hmm.
a guy who shares a name of a guy that
Your boy.
I kind of know. So well, I wanted to. I got this play pulled up because it was a good play to look at. There's actually a lot of action here. This side out of bounds play that took the Lakers into overtime. So I'm going to play this for us real quick.
And elevate. You don't have time to make a play.
Reeves got to get it in 3-point country. It's to Ryan on its way. He's got it. Matt Ryan sends it to overtime.
I told you that's why he should be in the game.
Sorry, I wanted to save it for the end because I had to
Right?
let Clark Kellogg get his shine, and my boy Clark had to. That's why he's got to be. He's got to be in the game. Um, First of all, a fantastic play. Like that was just great to
Hmm.
watch. Great pass by Reeves.
The pass by Reeves is. I know the head coach. He complimented after the game on that pass. That pass is hard to make. That is a long pass.
And it was perfect. It couldn't have yeah, it didn't have a lot of room for error. And what I liked was their commitment to waiting it out, because that was why I wanted to bring this play up, because this is where you and I have, and you more specifically have a lot more experience drawing up plays, running plays in practice. And this was a delayed action, right? Ryan
Hmm.
came in, he set a screen, waited for a second screen, the initial action up front, just no one was open,
Yep.
and this was just a delayed action, backdoor screen flare out to the corner, and it was. I just thought, I mean, kudos to everyone, because it was
Hmm.
getting to the nitty gritty. It was getting to about 4.5 seconds when he let that thing fly. A lot of younger players would have panicked and just gotten the ball out. So,
Well,
what were
that's
your
you got.
thoughts on the?
Yeah, you have to know time. You got to know how much time there is, like you said, because you've got 5 full seconds. There's plenty of time for it to develop. But you're right, the first, second options, they're not there. And to get all the way to the end, Austin Reeves doesn't freak out to clip that back screen, the flare there. It's it's poetry in motion. It is. Ex- Absolutely,
The chef's
absolutely.
kiss.
And as Trevor points out for us here, the guy throwing in the ball is a former Wichita State Shocker. He did transfer out and play for Oklahoma, but Austin Reeves started his career at Wichita State. So,
Oh, gotta love that. Gotta love
oh
the
yeah, yep.
shout out there.
Hmm.
Yeah, I and that game was a big one for the Lakers. I can't help but feel that they kind of lucked out pulling that one away. There was a play late. It was a 5-on-3 fast break for the Pelicans, and Zion pulled up for a finger roll, hit the front of the rim, and LeBron almost travels and gets. He's able to get the
They got
pass.
Zion over on Lonnie Walker. Now nobody's on Lonnie Walker. Nobody on Lonnie Walker. Zion moves and misses. LeBron's got a wide open Davis. Finds him.
Wow. So
Oof.
sorry, Lonnie Walker had to get his shine, and I'm not mad at him for it. He heard all those things I had to say about him last week. So he's
Yep.
like, "Hey, listen here, buddy. I can hit a three when I'm wide open," which is what I said last week, Lonnie. But anyway, that play blew my mind. I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that one too, because I do not blame Zion Williamson of all people, who had a great
Mhm.
game. He's looking so quick. He's getting to he was getting by Davis,
He's good,
layups off the
man.
glass, pull up jumpers, looking good. I don't blame him for that, even though it's 5-on-3. I I I you
Uh,
and that was the game. That play,
yeah,
that was the game for
because he's
the Lakers.
back. There's a
Yeah.
guy, Anthony Davis is lollygagging around on the other side. Oh man, it's so. If he makes it, we don't even having this conversation, and that's the problem.
I know.
If it's Lonnie Walker that does it, if it's Russ that does it, there's a whole segment on it. Like we've talked 10 minutes about it already. It's
Yep.
Zion, and he's right there, and it's he don't
And
miss it very often,
he
man.
makes it 98 times out of 100, but
Yeah.
that one time he misses it. And it's yeah, and Anthony Davis, it's one of those plays I know that you hate as a coach, because what can you do? You're not going to congratulate the guy. He just did all the wrong things, but exactly it worked out perfectly for your team, right? Like,
Hmm.
what are you going to say? You're not going to go back to Brow and say, "Hey, nice job, way to not get back on defense and leave your team hanging in a 5-on-3." But he did just hit the game sealing gimme layup. So just a tough. I mean, basketball. We said earlier things about timing. I'm hitting another cliche today. It's a game of inches. But the game
Fine
swung
lines, fine
on
line.
what a crazy play it swung on. But I agree with you. I think it was the right decision. I would have now my preference when I'm coaching Zion is that has to be a stronger finish.
Hmm.
That you're dunking that or the ball's touching the backboard. But again,
Yep.
I'm kind of an old school coach. Nobody. I used to be a finger roll guy that got trained out of me early in life, because it's not really worth it, right? Like,
Mhm.
there's a backboard's there for a reason, man. Make your job easier.
Yeah, there's such
Than
a margin for error when you finger roll like that. There's just weird things can happen. It's just they do all the time. Something like that. He just boop.
a little blocked by the rim. Yeah, the rim gets one
I've been
in the
rejected by
sack.
the rim quite a few times. I don't think Zion probably has.
Yeah, it's a new problem for him in his life. And there's some other new problems in the NBA, and we've been watching them in this early NBA season, and one of them new problems is rookie Benedict Mathurin.
Your boy. Hey, I'm gonna give you. You called it last week,
Benny!
man. Um, Wow. So I'm going to take over first, and I'm going to let you talk about him. I'm going to roll the stats here because I it is you're absolutely correct on this one. You're absolutely correct. Benedict is averaging 20 points per game, 4 rebounds per game, 2 assists per game. He's still coming off the bench, correct?
Yes.
Still coming off the bench. His splits. So we're going to talk splits a lot throughout the year. For anybody that doesn't know, the holy grail in the NBA is called 50-40-90. It's 50% from the field, 40% from three, 90% from free throw. Only 11 players have ever done it. The most recents have been Steph about 6 years ago and Kyrie about 3 years ago. Mahurin right now is 45% from the field, 42.9% from three, so essentially 43%, and 86% from the line. That is that's fantastic for anybody, Kev. That's fantastic for anybody. At 20 points a game as a rookie and a guy a lot of us didn't get to watch play a lot last year because he's a West Coast guy, played in Arizona. Those games are late. We don't get to see him
Yeah.
very often. It's been a very impressive start for your boy, and he looks like a great piece for the future of this franchise. Him and Halliburton next to each other are a lot of fun.
Yeah, exactly. And I've sent you messages last week in
Hmm.
our Discord saying I've never been so excited about a 1-4 team. Like, I know this team is bad and I don't care,
Yep.
because the future is so bright. And I've talked about it. I As we've talked about our support group, I will continue to try to help franchises and their fan bases to avoid the pain that I have suffered for years in mediocrity. And this feels so much better, right? To see a team where it's like,
Hmm.
all right, yeah, we're not going to win. We're going to try to compete. But when you see those two out on a fast break, and, Halliburton, he jumps and goes around the back and then throws a jump pass before he lands, and Mathurin head faked one dribble dunk. You're like, oh my, this team's gonna be so much fun to watch. And for us small market teams, it's the only way you can do it, right?
It's the only way you can do it.
You have to make a trade and hit on the draft. And you were right on, spot on. This was a West Coast guy that didn't get a lot of attention. I personally didn't start paying any attention to him until it was time at Last Word to start writing our NBA draft preview articles. Like, oh, who's this Mathurin guy? Why is he in the top 10? You hear the names, but then you're like, wow, this guy's getting projected. And you start to watch the tape. And you're like, oh wow, I see something here. I see what's going on here. And I don't know. I think this can be sustainable. Obviously, I think those splits are going to come down. I genuinely believe that, but I think they're at a good place where they can come down, and that's not.
Yeah, if they come down, it's not they're falling from great to good. It's not like they're falling from bad to worse.
Yeah, exactly. And I think and also to bring it back to the Lakers briefly because it's unavoidable. Miles Turner had some interesting things to say,
Yeah, how about that?
but Buddy Hield's in the mix as well. And if it's not the Lakers, I mean, I think at this point, Benny has kind of sealed Buddy's fate with his
I would
play.
agree, yeah. If there was any question whether he needed time to adjust or get ready and let Buddy play ahead of him, I think that has been thrown completely out the window. That ship has sailed, and now the question it actually probably hurts the Pacers because now people know the situation. Like they know there's a guy behind him. They're not gonna be able to get as much for Buddy now. They can try. They just
Yep.
won't. They're not gonna be able to pull as much as they could have had they done this in the offseason. What are your thoughts on Miles Turner going on a podcast and talking about a specific team trading for him? What are your thoughts on that one? That's like him coming on here and telling us, "Hey, I gotta go to the Lakers, man." Essentially, what he said. Like they need to trade for me.
Yeah. Didn't he do like a thing? If I'm the Lakers, and then he like pitched
Yeah.
himself, like this is what I bring to the table.
Mm-hmm.
I did not. I don't know that I've heard all of the clip because I don't think that I
It's
needed to.
essentially that. It is for a guy. I'm pulling up his stats. I think he's averaging 10 a game right now too. It's not
It's not.
13 a game, 7 rebounds. Like it's.
Is he up to two? Is he getting his close to 2 blocks even? Because that's
Uh,
always been what you're looking for with Miles is when healthy, he was close to the league lead in blocks, but
he is killing it at blocks right now. It's 3.7 a game. So he is
3.7 a game.
he
Okay,
could
yeah.
help he could help them defensively, but he doesn't
Mhm.
he doesn't shoot the ball 27% from three.
He does not.
Just
He shoots it, but not well. Like
yeah, there you
he's
go. He
got no
shoots it.
fear. Yeah.
It's it, it's interesting. Like I guess if you're the Lakers and you can pull him and Buddy, you probably have to do it, right?
That's my thought and that's where to go back to what we were talking about with Buddy, getting his price lowered. I think that's the Lakers scenario is the only scenario where that might not be true, but it's because of the package deal. But Miles isn't doing any favors by rolling his ankle. That did you hear about that injury? How he missed the first game of the year for the Pacers?
No, I did
He
not know.
stepped on a ball boy's foot and rolled his ankle.
Oh,
Like it's
oh,
just bad luck. And I'm not saying that to mock him, but it's just like
yeah.
it
It
still
is what
kind of
it
needs to be
is.
said. Like this dude just doesn't stay healthy. Um, and so I don't know. I'm weird about tampering. I don't have any issue with it. I think at my day job, luckily, no one cares enough to ever interview me and ask me like, "Hey, Kevin, are you like sending out your resume? Are you interviewing at other places?" But like we as normal working folks, we have that luxury to look around,
Mm-hmm.
shop our resume around all we want.
Yeah, nobody's
Um,
worried about us, unfortunately.
yeah, no one's worried. No one's like, "Oh, someone's tampering. No one's trying to take Kev away." But I I would say the rules as they stand, I think that's pretty clearly it. But how do you who gets penalized? Do you take Miles'
I don't
money
know.
away for
He's probably the one that gets fined if something happens.
I think if I'm the Pacers front office, what I do is I say to him, "Hey, Miles, if you really want to go to LA, you better never get on television and say it again because every time you do,
Mhm.
you're lowering your value in this trade market, and that's not going to help you get over there, bud. Because if you
No.
like, it's one of those things. Like, if you mess this up for me, man, I will ship you to
Mhm.
Utah. All right, I don't care. Uh, we've been doing this will they won't they with Miles Turner. It's like
Forever. It
Sam and
seems like
Diane.
forever.
Yeah, as long as he's been here, it's will we sign him, won't we sign him? And it's not been for lack of talent. It's been the injury issue, really. And for a while, it was Sabonis,
Yep.
understandably so. But then we've seen what Miles can do by himself as a five. So he can play well. Somebody's got to, again, the issue there without Buddy, I don't know what Miles Turner is worth because he's another guy around LeBron that can't hit an open three.
Yeah, Buddy
Um,
fits because the way he can shoot.
yeah.
Miles does not.
It would be the two of them together is nice. Okay, we've got a rim protector and we've got some shooting, but without one, Pacers aren't taking Westbrook without those draft picks. But at that point, like it,
Mhm.
I'd rather give a first for Buddy Hield right now than I would for Miles
I
Turner.
wouldn't. I wouldn't
I,
want Miles Turner if I'm there. I'd want Buddy. I would not want him.
yeah,
What's he play? He's essentially the backup to Anthony Davis. They can't play him next to each other unless you're
yeah,
going to be
that's the thing.
Minnesota.
Yeah, you've learned, and then you've from Miles's own career, you've seen, although that's one of
Yeah.
those weird things. It would work for Anthony, but it wouldn't work for Miles, because I think Anthony Davis did just fine back. You have to roll way back the clock, back when Boogie Cousins had two working
Man,
ACLs.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it worked for Anthony, but yeah, Miles, I don't know if that's something he can do.
I don't think so. You've seen him with Sabonis for so many years, and it just again, I agree with you. I think it works for the other one. I don't think it works for him.
At least we know we've got somebody in here trying to steal us on LinkedIn. We appreciate it, Trev. So we spent a lot of time on Matherin, and there are a couple other rookies I wanted to talk about briefly, just so that way I don't get blamed for or accused of being a complete homer and only talking about
The only
one
person that's
rookie.
allowed to say that to you is me, and I'll say it publicly on this show. But I will eat my words when I am wrong. So
Luckily, I don't have much to brag on for as a Pacers fan this year, so you won't have to hear too much of it. But there have been a couple other guys that have looked good so far, and we can stop and talk about any of these that you would like. But I know Keegan Murray has been pretty
yeah, he's
impressive
been
so
good.
far to start. Jaden Ivey, another guy that personally I was incredibly high on. That was my dream for the
Yep.
Pacers was Jaden Ivey, although I'm kind of dumb. On paper, it doesn't really make sense, but I just wanted the Purdue guy,
Yeah, the
that
local.
with the future Ja Morant to go to Indy, and I figured
Hmm.
we'd figure it out. But he has looked good, although the Pistons, they're struggling as well, record wise, but he's been looking good. Paolo, of course, has looked good, but
He's looked great. Yeah, he's been really,
yeah,
really good.
yeah. Any thoughts about any of those three guys that you've seen so far?
All of them impressive in their own right, different ways. Do you see Palos averaging 9 free throws a game?
I
That's
actually did not
unbelievable.
see that.
I saw
That
that.
is
Yeah.
great. That is you love seeing that out of a rookie, right? Like a
Hmm.
lot like you don't
It's a,
see that
it's almost a
aggressiveness every day.
no. It's almost a full. I think it was like 0.6 free throws more than the next highest in a long, long, long. You just don't see that ever. Like, and good for him. I will eat my words there. I didn't. I thought Chet should have been the number one pick. I didn't like Palo as much as most people did, and that's my own fault. Like, there's no reason for it other than I just didn't. Um,
I was blessed to have to cover the Duke's region last year, so I had to watch every second of Palo in the
yeah, so
tournament. So I was
you watched
very
them a
high. I was
lot.
like, "Oh
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
dude, whoever gets this dude at," because I was like, "There's Palo's gonna go 3. Are you kidding me? Like that's like someone's gonna get." I thought Houston. I was like, Houston's sitting pretty,
Hmm.
which takes me to my next point, which
Correct.
is where is Jabari Smith? It
Don't know
hasn't been
where
as
he's at,
good.
bud.
Yeah, hasn't been
Don't
as
know.
good. Inconsistency is the word that I've been hearing, unless I am reading tweets from actual Rockets fans, and then the words are a lot worse, and I shall not repeat them here. But yeah, it's way too early to say that he's a bust. But are you
Absolutely,
surprised
way too early.
by his lack of production early on?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's man, his stats: 10 points a game, 6 rebounds a game, 30, 30, 88 splits. Just bad all around. He's struggled in the move up to the big leagues, and very surprised there.
Yeah,
And obviously Benedict different. He's just off to an insane start for a rookie,
yeah,
but you don't. you expect more than 10-6 from the number 2 or the number 3 draft pick, not number 2. Chet was number 2. Number 3 draft. You expect more from somebody like that. He's getting the opportunity, so it's very interesting. Is the best word. Yeah, it's disappointing start to his career for him.
Yeah, it's not one of those top fives where a team got good ahead of schedule or made a good trade, like, to pull a throwback. It's not a Darko Milicic where you're getting drafted to a team and everyone
Mhm.
knows you're not going to play, even though you're a lottery pick. Like you said, there's opportunity here. The points, that's something, rookie wise, some people might hear, well, 10.6 rebounds, it doesn't sound bad. Well, that doesn't sound bad for the 17th overall pick or, a late first rounder,
Yeah.
but for the third overall pick, and it's not even the 10-6 that does it for me. It's that split. Correct me
Mhm.
if I'm wrong, but I heard 30-30, and I don't remember the free throw, but it's that first third.
89. Yeah, it's the first
89.
one. It's the
There's
first one
yeah. That third
that's
one's real
bad.
good. That first one's real scary.
For a big man too, that's whew, yeesh,
And if that's and if your 3-point percentage clip is similar to your field goal clip, that tells me one of two things. Either you're only shooting threes or somehow like it's the it's the inside stuff that you're struggling with like that. And it's like you said, he's not it's not a shooting guard we're talking about here. Like he's gonna have to get some points in the paint and the 30% honestly I guess would be okay comparative for a rookie. I don't know how many he's shooting a game, but
That's what I'm pulling
um
up. That's what I was going to see right now, just to see overall. I didn't have him pulled up. I've got him right here in a second. And he was
no,
one
no
for
worries.
ooh baby. Last they played the Clippers was their last. This was yesterday. 1 for 10 from the field, 0 for 5 from 3, 2 points, 4 rebounds, 2 fouls, 0 assists. Whoa. Whoa.
Yikes, dude.
He's
Yeah,
6 for anybody that doesn't know, Jabari Smith is 6'11". He is
yeah,
6'11".
yeah, that's what I
He's
thank
shooting
you.
6 threes a game.
Okay.
Woo!
Yeah. Okay. I'm starting to
And
figure this out a little bit as we unpack it. Yeah.
over half his shots are from 3. 6.2 threes a game, 11.7 shots on the year or a game.
Now I think to maybe put some Rockets fans at ease, I think this is a perfectly reasonable response. Like a rookie doing this doesn't surprise me,
Do you have
right?
any
Like
idea how old he is? I didn't know this until I just pulled this.
is he 24?
He's 19.
He's only 19. I was like, don't tell
So
me he's old. I was like, don't tell me
no.
he's old.
This
You're gonna
puts
tell me
this
he's
into
Chris Duarte, and
completely
I was gonna be
different.
like,
Yeah,
ah.
right. Completely different perspective. He's 19. That's a baby out there. That's a
Yep.
kid. He is
So
a
he is
kid out
shooting from
there.
where he feels safe.
Yeah.
He's
Yep.
confident from three,
Mhm.
and he's feels like that's where he can make an impact. And yeah, he's not getting down and dirty.
Nope.
Uh, so there's hope. I think that
I
should
think
be a
there's
good
yeah.
sign for Rockets
That's
fans. If I'm being
for
honest.
them. That's a great sign for him to be 19. That's like you said. If he's Chris Duarte, he's 24 doing this. You're going.
Ruh-roh.
Ruh-roh is right.
Were there any others on the rookie watch? Any names that I missed that you've been looking at so far this year?
No, those were the two. I did the big deep dive into Benedict. I had to prep myself before coming on here. I mean, you've got the shirt on too.
I
You know,
appreciate it. Yeah, don't worry. Hey,
Paolo's
I
really good.
I found a Cavs shirt for you. So next
Nice.
episode,
Hey,
I'll
there
be
you
able to
go.
go in
See,
character as
I told you
as
were a
the
Cavs
Cavs
fan. I
fan.
told you
Yeah.
were a Cavs fan. Speaking of, let's talk real quick about them. I know we got to get moving. 6-1. Donovan Mitchell playing like the MVP right now. They're having a hell of a year.
And there's like a little love going with Garland back, and it's like working,
Yeah,
right? And everybody's like,
yeah.
"Is this real? Is this a thing? Are they a
I don't.
thing now?"
I think they're a thing. I think they're a legitimate contender. Donovan Mitchell, 31 a game, 7 assists, 50, 40, 85 splits. Kevin Love, deep dive, full on head first into the fountain of youth. 29 points on Sunday. Kev, 29. So,
I
wild.
love it. I love
That's
it.
that's that's like championship season Kevin Love, not whatever this version is, the
Yeah, what is that? Like
39-year-old, how old he
2015,
is.
2016 Kevin Love right
Yeah,
there? Yeah.
this is not. He's 34 now. It's not. God, he was born. I didn't know he's born in '88. He's born the same year I was.
Hey, there we go, Kev. Attaboy.
I guess that's my boy now.
There we go.
So shout out them. That they're having a heck of a season so far. Be interesting to see. I think they're for real. Darius Garland's only played 2 games because of that eye injury, but I think they're the real deal, man. Talk about a small market club, like you said. You either got to hit on draft picks or you got to make a splash trade, and they did it.
And they did both. And you know what?
They
The
did, yeah.
Cavs have done a great job just being in the mix with other like when you look at it, uh depending on how the season goes, they may end up being the winners of the James Harden trade. You could look at it maybe right now basing on like what pieces went, but them getting Allen like that, and then they ended up uh after a while making that deal with the Pacers to get LeVert. Like, yeah, they went out, they made
Mhm.
trades, they signed some or they drafted some guys, and I think yeah, last year was not fool's gold. They are showing that they are legit. They're taking that next step, and another shout out here. Shout out Meg. Thank you. Appreciate
Thank
you
you, Meg.
stopping by, of course.
And it's yeah, you talk about uh, the big switch, Donovan Mitchell for Colin Sexton. It's a hell of a trade. It's a heck of a trade. Those big men are so good for them. Mobley, Allen, Kevin Love. They all do something different too. They all complement each other differently. They got 6 guys averaging over 11 a game. 7 guys, 8 guys averaging 9.9 or more.
Exactly. Yeah. So they're just it's a track meet of sorts, right? Like the offense can just keep moving. You've got
Mhm,
people, you've got threats out there on the floor. You've at least got a couple of scoring options, no matter what combo you're doing, especially now with Garland back, because yes, that's a dynamic backcourt when it's together. But I think that sometimes gets lost. And that's where really teams with this kind of flexibility and versatility, that's where they thrive to me, is that you're going to have a dynamic you're going to have the ability to run your offense and be on the attack at all times, no
mhm.
matter whether your starters are in or not. You won't have to how many minutes in a game are you going to have neither Spider nor Garland on the court? Like I just don't.
Very, very rarely. Just
Yeah.
very, very rarely.
And when you've got the guys who of that caliber, good luck, everybody. I mean, and
Mhm,
then you've got 3 quality big men to rotate out. So yeah, I think the Cavs are legitimate. When I look at what's happening with Philly and Brooklyn, especially,
mhm,
like I'm looking at that Milwaukee Cleveland 1-2 right now, and it's feeling pretty good. I mean,
mhm.
Boston may have something to say about it soon.
I think
But
they will. I think so.
yeah,
Cavs have
looking.
which the Cavs have beaten them twice in the last week since we've talked last since the last podcast, since the
That
last
is
show.
true. That was one of the maybe a game of the year candidate. One of
Game of it.
those. I think the most
And I
recent one.
think I think correct me if I'm wrong, you've got one of the a beautiful clip that is atrocious defense. Do not play defense like this.
James will inbound. Here's Smart. Tatum on the cut. Takes it all the way and slams it. He won.
God,
Apo-
he's so good too.
Apologies for the pixels, but at least that'll cover us with the NBA's copyright. But yeah,
Yeah, you can't tell what it was.
where was that defense? Yeah. Tatum also wanted the foul, which I thought was.
I'm not an expert in basketball. I don't consider myself an expert. However, I do know that the Celtics were actually going to that basket, the
Yeah.
one that he dunked it on, and they were trying to force in the other. I'm very confused. They're guarding the wrong basket. It looked like so. Big whoops there.
Again, now the sport has changed since I used to just emulate Reggie Miller and Rip Hamilton and just run in figure eights around down screens all day. But I
Yep.
don't remember drawing up too many plays where you backdoor cut from the half court line and it actually
Nope.
works. So yeah, just as we were giving them credit for their defense, yeah, not there.
Nope, not that one.
Not playing it there. But that was a fantastic game, and they are a team to look out for.
Yep.
Which is that's the segment that we're on now. Who are some other top teams? I mean, we've touched on a couple of them, so I'll mention them again now. We got the Cavs. We've got Utah, who continues to win.
I
Shout
don't
out
know
to
why.
Meg. Your
Don't know
Spurs
why.
again, see also Spurs for some reason keep winning. It's a credit to them and their organization with what they're dealing with, but also what are you doing? Quit it. This Victor Wembanyama is in this draft class. Didn't someone tell Pop who the 2 top guys in this draft class
I
are,
am
please?
so proud of you for being able to say his name because I actually had no idea how to say it. So good for you. I am so proud of you right now. Like I've never been prouder to have you as my co-host because I have no idea how to say it. Not a clue in the world other than I know he's really good. That's it. That's all I got.
Well, yeah, it's good. Yeah, yeah. You can just call him Slender Man if you want.
Right.
Yeah. Who else we got out west that is anybody that's surprising you or anybody to talk about as far as the top teams? Because I got one more out east. We got to spend a little more
Yeah,
time on, but
Phoenix is rolling right now, 6-1. They are picking up right where they left off last year. No ill effects of the offseason of this game 7 loss to Luka, the Aiton contract issues, the owner issues. Looks like they're rolling right now. Portland 5-2. Dame Lillard has missed a couple of games. That injury we
yeah,
talked about, the calf strain last week, was more severe than let on. Like we thought it would be. He hasn't played since. Could be back this weekend. Utah's the 3 seed. What are you guys doing? Stop it! No. And there's some just surprises with Clippers 4-4, Golden State's 3-5. Golden State might have just moved to 4-5. They're playing right now. They might have just won. But yeah, it's the teams. A couple teams floating around down there that I think will come back. I think the Clippers and Golden State will get it figured out. Portland, good for them. Utah, knock it off.
yeah. What are you doing? Throw
Stop
another one in
doing it.
there. Minnesota. I think Minnesota's gonna figure it out. It's weird
Yeah.
looking at that team. I think they're 4-4 right now.
And I was
Um,
wrong. Golden State just lost, so they just took another L. They just
Golden
lost
State
to the
just lost
Magic.
at Orlando, by the way.
Yeah.
Wow. Can't wait to see the highlights there because that has been going on while we've been recording. So I have no idea
I don't know. I just
what
saw that. Yeah,
happened
I
there.
just saw they lost. That's all I got.
I remember even looking at the schedule saying, "Oh, we've got Golden State, Orlando, and Denver, OKC. I don't even need to address the
Oh,
games tonight. We can just go with the script as planned." But no, no, Orlando had other ideas. So
yeah.
uh,
We will have to look into that one.
have to take a look at that one. But the last team, I think, well, actually, and New Orleans again, we talked about them a little bit last week, and I know they had a tough loss against LA, but
Hmm.
that's going to be a good matchup. We're going to talk about that one in a minute. But Milwaukee, I think we have
Yeah.
to spend at least a minute or two about the only undefeated team in the league during our top
So
team
good, man.
segment.
They are so good.
Um, yeah, just probably probably got the MVP right now. I know
Absolutely.
Luke has got a lot to say about that right now, but we talked about that sustainability. Same question for you now. Do you think Giannis, what he's currently doing, is sustainable throughout the year?
Absolutely.
Same.
He's done it before.
Yep.
And the difference between him and the Mavericks is the supporting cast. Drew
Oh,
Holiday averaging 20 a game. Brooke Lopez has averaged 14. Bobby Portis 13. And they're 7-0, and Chris Middleton hasn't played a game yet this season.
right. That's
I
that.
keep forgetting that.
It's
You know,
too easy to forget about Chris Middleton, and we won't forget about him when he comes back. That's
no,
all
but
I'll say. Like
they
the
played so
rich get
much at
richer
the end
there.
of last season without him, and then you start off this one. And you're absolutely right. The rich get richer. Big wing scores at an elite level, and just has not played it this year.
Yeah, and is a second option who, as a closer, a game closer, somebody who on other teams
Hmm.
would be a first option. And a lot of times on this team, if the situation is going to call for a jump shot, it's going to be Chris.
It's yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
so yeah, they're going to continue to pace the conference, in my opinion. I do expect them to get a little bit of distance between them and Cleveland here eventually. Neither team, I think, will keep this blistering of a pace on
No,
the
I agree with you. Yep.
yeah, but yeah, I think Milwaukee. I will honestly at this point, I might be surprised if we see them not number one at some point. The way they've looked right now, because again, I expect a regression. I expect them to
Hmm.
dip a little bit. I expect them to lose some games, but I don't see any of these other teams. Maybe Cleveland surpasses them for a day or two here or there
Yeah.
early on in the season, but I think we're looking at the number one seed in the East for the vast majority of the
I would
season
agree. The
already
other
in
team you
Milwaukee.
look at and you think about is Boston. They'll figure it out. So they're dealing with their own coaching situation and everything, but they're too good. They're
Mhm.
only 4-3, but two of those losses are the team that we just talked about, Cleveland. So you even split there. It's 5-2. Boston will have a say in that, but I think you're right. I think it's Milwaukee one. I think Cleveland or Boston two. I tend to think it'll be Boston just because they did it last year, but I'm not going to count out Cleveland at all. I think they're your top three in that conference.
Agree wholeheartedly. And the last thing I will say, because I had this question came up for me today, just thinking about Giannis in general and the Luka MVP conversation. And at what point are you? Do you have any? Maybe fear is not the right word, but at some point, do you think Giannis is going to start dealing with the same MVP fatigue that LeBron dealt with through the
Uh-huh.
the peak of his career, where a lot of people would argue LeBron should have more MVPs than he has, but people just got accustomed to the greatness, and so they stopped giving it as much credit. Like, is Giannis one more year of this, or is it going to be something where everyone just expects him to score 30 and grab 12 rebounds, and
I
it's no
think
longer going to be
so.
impressive?
You're absolutely right there. LeBron got screwed is probably not the technical term, but so he missed out on a couple more because he was so elite for so long that people expected it. So in a year, say next year, Giannis, say he continues just the whole season, average 33 a game, and next year he averages 30. And instead of being the 1 seed, maybe somebody gets hurt. This whatever they're the 2 seed, they don't win as many games. However, his stats are virtually identical. People start to it's just that greatness fatigue when you're used to it so much, when you become accustomed to it. That's why guys like LeBron in a vacuum are so hard to understand, because there's the fatigue of it. There's also the flip side where that's all you see all the time. So you're like, he's the best. There's the other side that's like, well, he does this every year. This year, let's give it to, Steph or whoever it is, KD, Russ, whoever.
Right.
It's absolutely a thing. And it's an inherent bias in human beings. There's nothing we can do about it. And I think you're right. I think you're probably 1 year away. I think he wins an MVP this year. They go back to the finals. Guess what is now expected of him forever? Which for him, good. That's a great thing for him.
Yeah,
Like,
great
yeah,
problem to have.
yes, they're expecting that from great for him. That's awesome. It is just you're absolutely right. I don't think we're quite there yet, but it is I bet it's coming. I bet it's next
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, that's kind of the feeling I got. I don't know if we're knocking on the door, but we're in the hallway, I think.
I think so too.
Yeah. So, yeah, then which takes me to our final segment of the night, which we mentioned the light slate of games tonight, but
Not much tonight, Kev. That was not a ton tonight. Last week we had the one to talk about right as we walked out of here. Tonight, not as great. I am interested to see what happened in that Orlando Golden State game.
oh
But
God, yeah, yeah, it's
there
gonna
is
keep
a
me up at night.
it is a good load tomorrow for us. There is a good load tomorrow.
Yeah, what's the first one, I guess, that I wanted to point out, because I already mentioned it earlier, was Golden State, New Orleans. So,
Hmm.
again, some of that we may look back on this one next week and have some completely different thoughts. But
Hmm.
with Golden State now having to recover from a loss to Orlando, my personal opinion is that they are going to get the victory over the Pelicans. But this can be, I think, one of the most fun games to watch. The Pelicans are just
Yeah,
a ton of
man.
fun to watch right now. What are your thoughts on the game?
I think the same thing. You've got the old guard, the team, Golden State, you know what they are. You got Steph, Clay, Jordan Poole. Those guys are great. New Orleans gets Zion back this year, is healthy,
So
finally.
good.
The only
So
game
good.
he's missed is the when he when he landed on his tailbone. So it's not been anything, like last year, foot or anything. It was a freak deal. He's so good. He's got to get better defensively. Has to. But guys like him, Ingram, that's going to be a fun game, and that game's going to move. That's going to be up and down. That will not be a slow game.
No, yeah, and CJ McCollum been looking good
God,
too.
I forgot CJ. I
Yep,
always forget him. Yeah.
he missed a chance to tie it late in the game against the Lakers, but it was a great shot, great move, pull up three, just hit the back of the rim, and he's been looking good out there too. So yeah, it's gonna be a great game, like you said. It's gonna be a track meet,
Hmm.
a lot of fun to watch. If you get a chance to check that one out, I highly suggest it. What was one, James? What was one that you had on your list to look at for tomorrow?
Portland is at Phoenix tomorrow, so you've got 6-1 Suns versus the 5-2 Portland Trailblazers. That's the 1 and 2 seed in the West right now. That is, I mean, it's about as fun as you can get right
It's
there.
crazy to
Going by
say
Sammy's.
that. It's interesting. Like, that's great. But yeah, 1 and 2, Phoenix, Portland. Dame may not be playing. I also want to throw
Yep.
this out. Gary Payton might not be. Gary Payton will not be playing. Um, Lillard might be out, so they'll be down a couple of ball handlers potentially. But great opportunity for Portland. Do you got anybody who's your favorite in that one?
I like Phoenix in that one without Lillard playing.
Yeah.
Anthony Simmons has been scoring it a lot with him out this last week, and I'm pulling up. You see, I'm pretty sure Nurkic had a 27-point game. I just want to pull the stat up so I don't lie. Yeah, so he's had back-to-back 20-plus point games here. 20. The win versus Houston last Friday. I think that is. Yeah, the 28th last Friday. 27 points, 15 rebounds, 70% from the field. Good for him. And then
Man.
against Memphis yesterday in a 5-point loss, he had 23 and 13. So he's
Yeah,
been playing out of his mind too.
and that's another guy that we've been kind of waiting for that. Like the
Hmm.
potential's been there. The injuries constantly coming in to derail him. That's a he stays healthy. I didn't think it at the beginning of the year, but this is a team that does have some pieces if they do manage to stay healthy with
Hmm.
Simons and Lillard and Nurkic and with Shaden Sharp. There's so much potential offensively there. I know his playing time is going to be limited. It's going to be inconsistent, and that's expected. But you never know. I think you're kind of better off. Sharp's a guy you could hold back early on the season who could really start doing for you. Instead of hitting
He's
that rookie wall, let him thrive and hit
mhm.
his stride at the end of the season. But
Yeah, speaking of Simons, back-to-back 30-point games there. 30 points and at least 7 assists. Ooh,
yeah, see, yeah, and
scorching it from 3. Scorching it from 3. Last 4 over 36 every game, up
it
to
doesn't
58.
seem
Woof.
wow, like that guy, it doesn't seem like that long ago to me that he was just like a late minute addition to a dunk contest because people backed out, and it was like, who's this Simons guy? Who's this like G League dude that's coming in
Man.
to do the dunk contest? And like, look at him now,
24th
he's
pick in 2018, man, like 3 points is 3.8 points his first year, 8 second, 7 his third, 17 last year, 22 this year. I mean, just made massive,
17
massive
last year,
jump.
22. I was just about to say it, and that was a great prompt for it. If he's not in the top 3 conversation for most improved right now, then
Yeah,
I'd
it's
like to I'd like to have
mhm.
that conversation, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
He's doing it on 4 more shots a game. 3-point percentage is down 3% from last year from 40. Yeah, man, he's made a big, big, big jump.
yeah, big time, big guy to watch, and I think it's also been partially responsible for the lack of consistent Shaden Sharp minutes too, because it's kind of like, well, I mean, we've got a guy who's doing pretty well out there on the
Mhm.
wing right now, so we're just gonna let him cook. And well, don't worry, bud, we'll get some time for
You
you.
thought when they
We're gonna get
traded CJ McCollum away, they were just fire selling, and I guess they knew more than we did.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, they knew what they had, it seems. And another one, matchup wise for me, one that I wanted to watch because it's a great opportunity for a team that's been struggling. Milwaukee at Minnesota at 10 p.m.
Mhm.
tomorrow. That's the ESPN game, so a lot of eyes on it. Big opportunity. Minnesota's a team I still believe in. I really want to think that they can build off of last year's success, but they just haven't consistently
Mhm.
been putting it together, and it's going to be a hard order to do it against the Bucks. Who you got in this one?
Bucks. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Um, the average height of that game is going to be like 6'9", by the way.
that's
They're going to step out there. That's good. It's going to be outrageous. I like the Bucks are just rolling right now. Minnesota's still figuring out how this is going to work with those two guys. Anthony Edwards, only 20. I say only 23 a game. Hasn't make it taken the big
right.
jump. Him and Towns 23, 21 a game. Gobert 13 and 14. It's just at this point in the year, the Bucks are a much more well-oiled machine
Yes,
than
yeah, they
the Timberwolves are,
100%.
and
Yeah,
I think I'd stick with them. I think they get to 8-0 tomorrow.
yeah, that's probably a good call. I wouldn't go against that. If I wish I had the spread here, maybe start to do that, add that to this flavor. But
See if I can
I
get
might
it.
like Minnesota to be a particular spread. But I agree with everything that you said, and you touched on Anthony Edwards, and that is something that you know I find myself wondering if the addition of Gobert isn't having that negative side effect on Anthony Edwards' game because so much of what Edwards does is get to the rim, and it can be a lot easier to do that when you have someone who claims to be the best shooting big man of all time, but at the very least is arguably one of the best shooting big men in the game
Yeah.
right now, Karl Anthony Towns. When that's your five, there's a lot of open space for a
Mhm.
guy like Anthony Edwards to go at the rim with no regard for human life. But when you have a guy like Rudy Gobert, who is essentially on offense the equivalent of a wacky, waving, inflatable tube man, um, it's going to kind of get in your guy's way who's like, well, hey, half of what I do is take it to the lane. And now I've got this 7 foot tall roadblock right where I'm trying to go to work.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering how they're going to figure that out. But I would have faith. I think Anthony Edwards is the truth. I think we will see that step. But they're just, yeah, they've got to figure out. It's a completely new dynamic. Meanwhile, as you said, the Bucks are running it back. They know who they are. They know what they want to do. And Brooke
I
Lopez,
agree.
you talked about the fountain of youth. Brooke Lopez and it's been hanging out with
Yeah,
Kevin Love in the offseason. I don't know what's going
they
on there.
figured something out, man. Rain threes and get younger.
Yeah.
I did find the spread. Milwaukee is favored by 3 in that game.
Oh, never mind. I don't like the spread either.
Yeah,
No,
it's
run for
not.
the
No,
hills. Run for the hills, Minnesota fans.
no,
Stay away from
don't
it.
like that.
Uh, is there that was it for the games that I had that I wanted to preview? Anything on your slate, James, that you wanted to cover?
We talked about Utah and the Lakers a little bit pre-show. See if the Lakers can keep it going. See if Utah's ever going to fully give up on this season. Knicks at 76ers is another fun one. Like I said, the Bucks Timberwolves is the big game of the night. I think that's the best one. It's easy. It's ESPN too. It's the easiest one for everybody to watch as well.
Yep, like that. Also, if you're interested, speaking of ESPN, Boston Bulls, 7:30. Chicago takes
Yep.
on the
Hmm.
Celtics, and then of course, yeah, you got Nets Washington at 7. There are a lot of games tomorrow night, so
There's tomorrow's fun. There's some games tomorrow night. Not so much tonight. There's one going on right now. You've got Denver OKC finishing up here, but tomorrow good day for games.
it will be, and we will be here next Thursday to talk about probably at least one of those good games. You know, the way this
We will
place,
recap one of them.
yeah,
Absolutely. One of them's
absolutely
going to turn out good. Has to. There's odds there. Law
with
of
a slate.
averages.
Yeah, exactly. With a slate like that, how could we go wrong? But please, those of you out there who have commented, we appreciate you. If you want to be part of the show, please remember to like, subscribe, so you are notified when we go live, and leave us a comment so that we can answer your question. And we'd love to have you on and talk to you. So, James, thanks again as always for joining me.
Hmm.
Where can they find you on socials? Where else can they listen to you?
Obviously, every week here, the bounce every Thursday night. Titans Tilt podcast twice a week. I was live last night. I'll be in Kansas City this weekend. So God bless Tennessee this weekend, and God bless your Colts this weekend. I don't even know who the Colts play this weekend, but good luck to
It's an automatic loss at this point. They just lose every game.
them.
Oh no, we have a spammer.
I saw
Yes.
that too.
So you can find me in the club. No, you can find me on Twitter at @KevNevick_. I run the Bite Size Sports podcast as well. So check us out over there. YouTube, Spotify, all that good stuff. And I also am blessed to be part of the team over at Indie Intercept with all those great folks. So if you like the Indianapolis Colts, you can find us Friday nights and Sunday nights at 9 p.m. We are also live. So until next time, we want to thank you so much for joining us. We will be here, as James said, next Thursday, every Thursday. Well, every Thursday at 9. Next Thursday, we'll probably be here at 10. We will update you. So, again, maybe you should follow us so you'll know when we go live. I'm just saying. But until
Bingo.
then, we will see you. Have a good one.